Hello and welcome once again to the Hellraiser blog. Today's Hellraiser blog is going to cover GGG, Gennady Golovkin versus Kell Brook. That fight takes place on Saturday at the O2 Arena in London. That's live on Sky Sports box office. You can buy it through their channel. Big fight, huge fight, probably one of the biggest fights and one of the most surprising fights to be made. When I first saw it was announced, my gut feeling, my first initial reaction was Brook. Out of frustration, you know, we thought we were going to see a big fight with him and Khan, which didn't materialise. Probably because Brook doesn't quite yet have the position in terms in the market that he would need to negotiate a big split of the money versus Khan, and Khan probably wouldn't. You know, he probably sees himself now above taking the short end of it, which is why that never happened. But look, the fight that did happen surprised me. Again, it was born out of a fight that didn't happen because Brook didn't fight Khan in the same way Golovkin didn't fight Saul Alvarez, Canelo. Now, maybe the other way round, you know, Canelo sees himself too big for fighting GGG. I think this is a good fight from a marketing point of view for GGG, you know, because this will give him the leverage that he needs, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he comes to box in the UK for a second defence should he beat Brook, because in terms of generating money and putting money in the pot for when he eventually does fight Canelo, this is a good exercise because it's going to get everyone in the UK interested in him. But he has to beat Brook, so let's look at the technical side of it. I mean, for me, look, firstly, Brook, since he won the title, his career has been it's been disappointing. The opponents that he's boxed, I mean, Frankie Gavin hasn't delivered on a level as a professional, and he's boxed two mandatories. Jonathan was one of them where the fight didn't really take off. It didn't didn't whet my appetite to say to begin with. And Kevin Bizier, absolutely not. You know, I mean, that's just for me a guy that was pushed up the ratings and got made mandatory, but just nothing fights, you know, fights that you had to go through. And for Kell Brook, he's just trodden water during that time. But they had the rankings, so he had to fight them, and unfortunately, that's why he's ended up in the position that he has found himself, where the money hasn't really been there to create the big fights. If he beats Golovkin, of course, all that changes, and he'll become a world-recognised megastar. And that's not an exaggeration, that's exactly what he will become from a performance on one night. For me, I think the fights really we wanted to see was Brook versus Khan and Golovkin versus Canelo. We didn't see them. This, to me, isn't on that level. I think that the odds are too far favoured for Golovkin. We've seen really almost like a mission in the media over the last sort of month, say, to convince us that this is a close fight or a fair fight. To me, Golovkin is too big and will prove victorious because he will wear down Brook. Brook's movement's going to cause him problems. Okay, I think it's inevitable that early on, Brook actually probably might even impress us with his speed and his movement, but I can't see him lasting 12 rounds. I think the fact that Golovkin weighs so little, his punch variety is unbelievable. The first time I saw him box in the flesh, I was in Monaco. I had Dean Byrne boxing on the undercard, and it's just like everything stopped when I saw him. But it was just like beautiful, you know, the leverage, the punch variety, the way that he positioned himself in the ring and positioned his opponent in the ring. It was just like poetry, you know. It just the hairs on the back of my neck, honestly, I was just like, wow, this is a guy. And his opponent that night, it was a Ghanaian guy, I can't remember his name, but was not really of the level to test him or extend him. I mean, the guy just got destroyed, basically. And my feeling on the night, I remember thinking, Golovkin can end this any moment he wants, pretty much. He could just finish it. But he seemed to be enjoying himself in there. They were in the changing room next to ours, and I saw him just literally minutes before he went in, and he was like chatting and having a laugh, and you know, he was a very friendly guy, he was a nice guy, and I was really taken aback because I thought, even though this looks like on paper, it looks like quite a routine, easy sort of fight for him, I still expected him to be maybe a little bit more uptight than what he was, but he literally seemed like if he was walking through a park, his heart rate would have been the same, you know, just going on for a gentle stroll. Is Brook cashing in? That was my first feeling, was he is. Now I don't. Actually, I think, I don't want to be disrespectful to Brook, I think he's a massive underdog, much even bigger than what he seems to think himself. And I understand his self-belief, but you've got to remember, he's been getting hit by welterweights. Sure, in sparring, he would have been with bigger guys, but Golovkin's been hitting these bigger guys and taking them out impressively, and I think the realisation will hit Brook probably after rounds 3 and 4 when his feet slow down and he's not able to use that movement and that sort of flexibility that he has, because Golovkin is a genius at cutting ring space down, where he positions himself, where he forces his opponent to position themselves, and then the way that he takes advantage of that is ruthless, and it's instinctive to him. It's not something he thinks about, it's something that he does routinely, and he's going to do it to Brook. He's going to cut him down, and I think second half of the fight it's going to be really, really hard for Brook. I do see Brook getting through to the second half of the fight, even if he may get hurt in the first half. I see Brook, you know, very slippery fighter, good fighter, possibly the best welterweight we've got in the world at the moment. So, you know, of all the different divisions at welter, but this is a different. I'm telling you, if you're not familiar with Golovkin and you see him fight here, you're in for a treat, for a real nice surprise, for a fighter who isn't touted. You know, gets so many inflated PR press releases and guys that are basically very well marketed, but their fighting doesn't reflect that. But here you've got a guy, I'm telling you, who really, really can fight. Short punches, gets amazing leverage in them, and is bound to cause a nightmare for Kell Brook. Since the fight was announced, like I say, my initial reaction was he's cashing out. Now I'm not so much he's cashing out. I think he's rolling the dice. He's taking a big chance, but he's going in there to win, and we're going to see Kell Brook fight probably the fight of his life, because it'll be the first time where he's been forced to extend himself to the degree that he will against Golovkin. Since we've seen the fight announced, we've almost seen like a media mission to convince us that this is a 50-50 or this is much closer than what. Right, well, I'm sorry, but as a matchmaker in boxing, I don't believe what I hear, I believe what I see. And I've seen these two box, and I don't believe the stories that it's almost like every day there's a new one as to some new angle, some new reason why Brook's got a much bigger chance than we will. Right, for me, if something amazing happens and Golovkin boxes below par, okay, I hope I am wrong. I hope that I am wrong. But on what I've seen so far, I'm sorry, Golovkin's gonna win this, and he'll win it most likely, I think, inside the distance. I mean, you may have seen the column in Boxing News I was in this week where I said round 10. I'm torn between round 10 and points. I think more likely it will be a late stoppage, but you know, who knows? Like I say, I hope I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. I just want to show you one thing. Okay, so please have a look at this for a second. You'll see it's the tail of the tape for a fight between Kell Brook and Diego Chavez. And if you look, you'll see their reach. And they give the reach for Brook as 69 inches. Okay? That's on Sky Sports' website. Now, this is the tail of the tape. Now, I couldn't find this on Sky Sports' website, although their branding is there at the top, but this has been circulated through the media. It gives Brook's reach as 72 inches. Okay, now whether that's not been put by Sky Sports. Okay, so I'm not saying they've done it, trying to sell more for their pay-per-view, trying to make it look more even than what it is. But I'm just saying, my experience in boxing, I know that the way some of these people will try and drum business up, and Golovkin, I think, I would like to see the actual measuring tape and see them measure it, because to me, Golovkin, although height-wise there isn't that much, and there may not be that much in reach, but I think Golovkin has got the longer reach. He's also taller, and Brook is not used to fighting guys that have got those advantages over him. Also, Golovkin has been knocking out middleweights. Brook's been knocking out or outpointing welterweights. I'm not buying the media garble. For me, Golovkin's rightfully a heavy favourite, and if you're a betting person, like I said, I would say you're probably best bets for a late stoppage. You might see Brook's very clever guy, and when he's under that pressure, you know, if he decides just to go into survival mode, he might well make it to points. Difficult to find a tactic that would be the right tactic to beat Golovkin. But if I think, when I've watched it, if I was in the corner of the other guy, my tactic would be to hold the centre of the ring. Now, you might think this is suicidal. I would say hold the centre of the ring for as long as you can. Force yourself to stand there. Because I've never seen Golovkin really push back. And for me, I guess running might extend your stay, the length of the fight. But it's only a matter of, if you run from Golovkin, he will cut you down. He's such a genius at cutting off with little feints and shimmies, and he cuts, and every time he's sneaking forward, and it's just pressure, unbelievable pressure the whole time. And I think at some point we'll see Brook probably struggle, because he's not going to, I can't see him standing in centre ring, and he will move, and that will work for a while, but he can't run the whole time without slowing down. Eventually you get caught up, and that's when I think GGG's punch variety and ability to cut off the ring will take over and give us the result. So, one thing's for sure, I don't see Brook doing whatever he wants, as he said in the lead up to the fight. Anyway guys, that's the fight. I'll be there at the O2 Arena. Enjoy the fight, and feel free to let me know your thoughts. If you disagree, I want to know about it. Thanks very much guys, see you then, bye bye.